moving to 6-4, 4-3 in the clutch on the year. Toronto will take on the Lakers tomorrow night. The Clippers will head to OKC to see the Thunder on Monday. 24 for James Harden, 12 rebounds, 7 assists. Norman Powell pours in 24 of his own, 14 and 12 from Ivica Zubac. And the Clippers win it 105-103. Emmanuel quickly with 21 of his own to lead Toronto. Him and Abaji pacing the Raptors in points. For Carlo Jimenez, Joey Kimball, Adam Oslin, Big Brother Jake Warner, Zach Acaldi. We'll see you in a few. Adam Oslin's going to take over. The Clippers survive against the Raptors 105-103 and improve to 6-4 on the season. Our final score, Clippers by 2, 105-103. Here at Intuit Dome. We'll see you in a few on the Clippers Audio Network.
Nice call, Carlo.
Thanks, man. Dude, Jakob Poeltl executed that perfectly.
Dude, that was pretty brilliant. Without any timeouts, I think that was a good move.
Yeah. Almost a game winner.
Bro, if it was a game winner by Toronto after you said that, you were going to get crushed. Big Bro had texted me like, Carlo did this.
I did it. They won.
Clipper Nation, they hold on and get the victory. Welcome in, chat. Appreciate you guys. Yes, thank goodness. 4 turnovers in the fourth quarter still. 3 missed free throws. Clippers had the lead or were tied since the 110 mark
of the first.
Wow. Is this 21 or 27? 21? Guys, Harden had made 21 consecutive free throws before that miss in the fourth. Norman Powell missed 2. Are you kidding? They could have put this game on ice. Coach Lue's not going to be happy, but better to learn after wins. You have to learn after failure and losses. Coach Lue's got plenty of ammo after the last 2 games, but they're both wins. Clippers are 6-4 in their first 10 ball games. I would have signed up for 5-5.
Let's go. And we've had a top 5 strength of schedule. Don't forget that.
Yes, sir. Oh, cardiac clips.
Thank goodness. That would have dampened the mood.
Oh, I would have been upset.
It's like the opposite of Portland. They got it done. Let's go, Clipper Nation.
Ray, feel better. Hopefully this win will help. Look at Tom Raines. Look at this guy now. All about the positives. 3 straight wins. How about 4?
Cuatro.
How about 4 straight wins, Tom?
Yeah, Tom.
You were close, Tom. Terance made some spectacular defensive plays down the stretch, guys. Well, the Clippers may have had 4 turnovers in the fourth quarter, but they also just had their 4th straight victory as they win 105-103 here at Intuit Dome over the Toronto Raptors. Welcome into your postgame show. I'm Adam Oslin. Coming up, we got second half highlights, but first, back to your radio voice of the Clippers in Carlo Jimenez. Carlo, it wasn't easy. They had to dig it out of the dirt, but it's another sweep of a back-to-back, the second time we've seen this already this year.
Clippers just got to play more back-to-backs, Adam. I mean, 16 is
Wait
not
a
enough.
second. Wait
16
a
is not
second.
enough. I mean, more back-to-backs, baby, with at least 1 game on the road.
Adam Silver, he's not serious.
Clippers, big-time win. Gritty one from this group, Adam. Kept that 1 point, that lead from the 110 mark all the way to the end. I think it was so impressive. Toronto, got to give them credit. They fought the entire way down the stretch. You get 21 from Quickly and Obagi. It's a dangerous Raptor team that clearly has some great young talent out there. The Clippers come away with the win. Norman Powell, another 20-point game. I thought James Harden, he's been the Clippers' leader in the clutch in points. And after not scoring yesterday in the fourth quarter, big-time buckets here in this fourth quarter, Adam. Fun one for the Clips, another gritty one. And if there's a team that's been tested enough late, the Clippers with their 7th clutch game. They've played 10 games this year.
It is amazing that we're only 10 games in, and you feel like this has been a roller coaster ride. This has been a journey already for this Clippers team, as they're 6-4 through 10 games. I said I'd sign up for 5-5. This team has been impressive. They could be even better than that if they knock down their free throws in game one, if they didn't give that one up to the Blazers as well. This team, though, I think all things considered, is on the right track. 2 games above 500 without Kawhi Leonard so far.
Yeah, and that's all you can say is you talked about, Adam, if you can stay at a 500 level, by the time Kawhi Leonard comes back, you got to be feeling good, and the Clippers have been hanging around there. And I think with the emergence of Norman Powell, something we talked about pregame, 500 might not be good enough. I mean, the bar might be a little higher for this team because of the defense, because of the way they're scoring. I mean, they dominated this game in a lot of categories against a Toronto team that's been excellent this year at pushing the pace, at getting offensive rebounds. The Clippers had more fast break points. They got on the glass more. They were able to take the lead. 35 bench points for this Clipper team. They got help from everyone here today. An impressive group. Derrick Jones Jr. out for the most part with those 5 fouls, but everybody stepped up. A group effort. Kevin Porter Jr., a season high 15. He was big off the bench to go along with 6 rebounds and 5 assists. You see why when Ty Lue said he's going to be a big part of what we do. He was a huge part of what they did today.
Yeah, Kevin Porter Jr. knocking down those back-to-back threes. You wonder what that can do for his confidence moving forward. As you mentioned, he had only hit 2 threes heading into this ball game so far through 9 games. He hits 2 of those. I also think another guy that could get a confidence boost out of this would be Terance Mann.
Yep.
The defense he played down the stretch, you asked, why is Coach Lue going back to him? What's the reasoning here? We talked about it. The defensive acumen from him, getting out in transition as well in that third quarter. But what he did defensively, and they were switching a lot with Emmanuel Quickly guarding him, and then it was R.J. Barrett. 2 great, stellar defensive possessions by Terance Mann in clutch time.
Yeah, big time possessions. Way to guard without fouling, stay vertical, keep his line on the drives by Quickly, who is so fast to the rim. Terance Mann, huge stops down the stretch, a big-time block for him. I thought, like you said, Adam, excellent 28 minutes today. That might be a season high for Terance Mann. We'll have to go back and check. But he played huge for this Clipper team down the stretch. Huge minutes for him. A confidence booster for sure, and the Clippers are going to need him out of that defense. That 5th spot with that finishing group still up in the air, could be anybody's night. Terance Mann gets the call, and he stands up to it.
And we're starting to see these positive trends here from distance with things turning around in the Clippers' favor, where once again, 4th straight game, they outshoot the opposition from 3. They end up going 10 of 26. That's 39% from distance. I know the Raptors technically had one more made 3-pointer, but they had to take 37. 11 of 37. That's under 30% from 3. All of a sudden, the Clippers, the law of averages, the defensive acumen around the perimeter, they're just a little bit better there, a little bit more in tune. They're getting some stops when teams are lighting them up from distance to start the season.
They are. They're closing out better. They're getting a hand up. They fouled early in that game, but not really the rest of the way, able to keep Toronto off the line late. A Raptor team that's going to kick themselves for missing 9 free throws today, Adam, and losing by 2. They shot 57% from the charity stripe in this ball game. But the Clippers did a great job today of playing to their strengths, once again holding a team just around 100 points. I mean, if you hold a team to a 103 in the NBA, in today's NBA, you're going to win almost all your games. The Clippers, after holding Sacramento to 98, just 5 more points for Toronto on the second night of the back-to-back. It's impressive. It's impressive. It's a much different team taking on OKC the second time around than they were the first time around, riding that 2-game slide, letting 2 games get away from them.
Clippers white knuckle another victory here. They win tonight 105-103 over the Toronto Raptors. The cardiac Clips But we were talking about it a little bit off the air, I think. You'd rather learn during victories than during losses. The last two easily could have been. Instead, the Clippers did just enough to hang on, but they also gave Coach Lue some tape and some film to look at and point out where there are a lot of fixable, correctable mistakes out there.
Things to improve on for sure, but things to improve on without having to lose. That's what you mentioned. That's the biggest part of this. The Clippers can go back to the drawing board and look at it without having to feel like, man, we really let one get away. They came away with a victory. There's so much more room to grow for this Clipper team who sits at 6-4. A win today, Adam. I believe they're sitting 6th in a Western Conference with 14 or 13 teams above 500, which is just absolutely absurd. By the way, there's 2 teams in the East above 500. The West might be calling for a reseed of the playoffs the way this is going.
Same as it ever was.
So it's bad this year. It's historically worse than it's ever been. The Clippers right now going through that gauntlet. They'll continue with OKC and Houston, but a big one. You want to take care of business. You want to win the games you have to win. You've talked about it, but if you're going to play Portland twice, if you're going to play the Utah Jazz 4 times, if you're going to play Toronto twice, you got to win those games. And the Clippers come away with a win over a team they're supposed to beat. That's what great teams do.
Clippers come through late. They win 105-103, even with some missed free throws, some miscues with turnovers in the fourth quarter. They withstood it all. They come through here at Intuit Dome with a 2-point victory over the Toronto Raptors. And now they head out on the road for a couple. They will be in OKC Monday night. Tip time for that one's at 5. We'll have your pregame show starting at 4. Carlo Jimenez, great call as always. We get to hear some of your calls coming up next as we got second half highlights.
Adam, talk to you Monday. Let's go.
Coming up next, Clippers pull through, and we got your second half highlights right here on your Clippers postgame show on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.
Tonya. Thanks, Zach. You too.
What up, chat? Norman Powell was in the game closing. You're saying more plays for him? I mean, he got fouled and went to the charity stripe for a reason. That play was for him. Yeah. I guess that's the biggest play of the fourth. Yeah, I'm with it.
Yeah, and that's cool.
Harden third, Norm 3, fourth. That works. Yeah, man. Terance Mann late. Coach Lue pushing the right buttons late, guys. Terance Mann had that little run in the third where he had 4 quick transition points. I think that gave Coach Lue a little bit more faith in him to close in this one, and then his defense was just incredible.
Hi, Louise. Get some good stuff.
Some Judo Dojo here. Zach O'Caldy with the tunes. Clippers come through. They win 105-103 over the Toronto Raptors. They hold on for dear life late as Jakob Poeltl went with the intentional miss on the second free throw. Went right back to him like a game of 21 Tippett. He almost had it go. Clippers would get the board, though, on the missed jumper, and they would run out the clock. They win by 2. They led by as many as 14. They are 6-4 in their first 10 games. Welcome back into Clippers Talk. Your Clippers post-game show. Coming up here, we'll get to your post-game box score and more. We will take your calls tonight if you want to get on early. 866-987-2570. 866-987-2570. Clippers led at the half 52-47, but they were up by as many as 14 in that first half. Toronto battled. They hit 3 straight threes, I believe, after the Clippers went up 14. In the third quarter, though, James Harden started to get cooking a little bit.
Oh, with my guy, Eric. He's a good dude, man. He took me out in the broadcast. Right up at 2 a.m. And then he was like, let's go out the next night. And I was like, nope. All you, Eric.
James Harden stepping up in that third quarter. I know he hasn't shot it well overall, but he has had some timely buckets here and there and still ended the ball game with 24. Clippers led by 11 heading into the fourth. It was 81-70, and things got dicey. Some self-inflicted wounds from the Clippers in the turnover department once again. Some bad missed free throws, 3 of them in the last 35 seconds, but there was a huge shot by who else? Norman Powell. Biggest shot of the game. That would put them up by 5 with 2 minutes left. The Clippers hold on late. They win by 2. Final score 105-103. Here at Into a Dome over the Toronto Raptors. And now they head out on the road for the next 3. More on that coming up next here in the Clippers postgame show on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Zach, what time you want to get out? I mean, we can get out 11:10 if you want. It's up to you. We can get out at 11:10 if you want. It's up to you. Oh, you tell me then. We'll do whatever. Cool. Guys, we're going till 11:15. What was the name of that last song? Is Sam hating on this victory? We don't need this from Sam. Like, if you don't think good teams get dig it out of the dirt type victories over an 82 game season, you ain't watching ball. This stuff happens, especially on the second night of a back to back, Sam. While Toronto has the younger, sprier team that had 2 days of rest. Just for that, I'm turning on the light. Now you have to see me even brighter. Sam ain't going to bring the bright side of things here. I will. Man. Bone saw calling Sam a cash. Oh, it's getting toxic. I'm not in the camp of a win is a win is a win, though. Like, how you win does matter. They need to learn from this. Clippers are victorious. They win 105-103 over the Toronto Raptors here at Intuit Dome. Make it 4 straight victories for your Clippers. They're 6-4 in their first 10 ball games, all without Kawhi Leonard so far, and they are staying above water. Love to see it. Clippers ended up shooting 46% from the floor in this one. Toronto 42%. Clippers 10 of 26 from the outside. That's 39%. Toronto 11 of 37 from 3. That is 30% from distance. It's been a trend the last 4 games. Clippers outshooting their opponent from 3. Toronto with 26 assists on their 40 made shots. Clippers with 18 on their 35 made shots. There were some missed free throws late. 3 of them in the last 35 seconds. Clippers still ended up going 25 of 32 at the charity stripe. That's 78%. Respectable. They beat up Toronto in the fast break points. 27-23. Toronto, though, 52-48 advantage in points in the paint. And bench points, back to your Clippers, 35-28 in favor of the LA Clippers. They did just enough to win this one by 2 late before they head out on the road for the next couple. They'll be in OKC on Monday night, taking on the Thunder. They owe them one. They were up by 13 and lost a game here at Intuit Dome by the Thunder already this season. Then they'll be doing a Texas two-step, a 2-game mini-series in Houston against the Rockets. Tip time Monday night in OKC is at 5. Pre-game show starting at 4. Outside of Los Angeles, we are leaving you until then. But coming up next here on AM 570 LA Sports, we got Clippers talk. What'd you say, Zach? I'm sorry. Whatever you want to do. So we're doubling the break here? Cool. Guys, I don't subscribe to the theory that a win is a win. Because if that's the case, it sounds like there's nothing to learn. When we know that's not the case. 4 turnovers in the fourth quarter, some bad ones, and missed free throws. That has to change. It's a disturbing trend so far in this season. Now they're 6-4. You'll take it. Probably could be 7-3. Some would say 8-2. You clean up some of these mistakes. You execute better down the stretch. And look, I've said it from the beginning. I do think there's something to the other team giving maximum effort late in ball games to where then that ball pressure and the defense teams play late when they're giving it all and going all out, it gets to the Clippers a little bit. And you see the tired legs of James Harden late in games and just not enough guys who can handle and play make and set the table outside of him. I think that's the recipe for these turnovers. But 14 turning into 21 points. Clippers were not good enough there. But they win anyways. So you can learn from this. And that's what's important. You'd rather learn after a victory than after a defeat. I think we'll have Chuck Mockler on tonight, even though the Clippers won. So I don't know how this works. Is Will going to get upset? I'll say as long as it's cool with Will. I guess 11:15. What's that? Now, who's Coffee replacing in the fourth? Terance Mann was really good, guys. His defense was special down the stretch. He had the 2 biggest stops of the game. One on Emmanuel Quickly, and then on RJ Barrett. So, I don't know. Justice for Chuck. Chuck said he ripped up the contract. So, I guess we don't have to take Will. Only when the Clippers win. Oh, this is good news. I didn't see this from Tomer Azarli. Mo Bamba's been participating in Stay Ready game day practice, 5-on-5s and everything. He hasn't been limited, said Coach Lue. His status of the trip is TBD. We know Kawhi's not going to be with them on the trip, but Mo Bamba. Yes, Sam. Watch more games. Plenty of teams, good teams, lose to bad teams, especially on the second night of a back-to-back. Toronto had 2 days off. You're omitting some information that's pretty key here. I wonder why. Sam, you're dangerously close. Dangerously close. Norm for President, says Zach L. Caldy, our producer. He's been a Norm fan for a long time. Real talk. Well, all's well that ends well. The Raptors went extinct eventually here, and the Clippers hold on for another gripping victory, a white knuckler here at Intuit Dome. Clippers are victorious with a 105-103 win, make it 4 straight. They are 6-4 in their first 10 games. And hey, welcome into Clippers Talk. 866-987-2570, 866-987-2570 is the phone number if you'd like to get on. Whether you want to get on AM 570 LA Sports or have people hear you, I guess, at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side. I'm Adam Osland. A lot to get into here. I want to start with this. A lot of people have been tough on Terance Mann, including myself. There were plays early on that third quarter where he was not even looking at the basket. He'd get a board, and if it was an offensive rebound and he had a shot at a putback, he would take it back out. He would kick it out to somebody else. He wasn't looking for his shot still. But then he had a couple of buckets in transition that were big in that third quarter. One of them where he didn't have the numbers. It was a 1-on-2 in favor of Toronto. But the first one at the 3:30 mark of the third quarter, that was big. Then Mann again in transition without numbers, got a layup. And Coach Lue, I think, rewarded him, going back to him late in this ball game, because not only the defense on Emmanuel quickly on R.J. Barrett, which came through late with Terance Mann, but offensively, he won some easy transition points. Mann didn't come up with that in the fourth quarter, but he came up with the 2 biggest stops of the game. And for everybody talking about Terance Mann and bagging on him for some time now, not looking for a shot, and some people not even giving him credit for his defense, Terance Mann, late in this ball game, blocks Emmanuel quickly, and then got R.J. Barrett to miss as he played him straight up. Huge stops in a close game. It was 2 points. It was 1 point. In fact, the LA Clippers had the lead or were tied from the 110 mark of quarter one. So while they had opportunities to pull away, and that was frustrating, and there were more self-inflicted wounds. We'll hear from Coach Lue postgame about this. There were more missed free throws down the stretch, 2 by Norman Powell, 1 by James Harden. The Clippers did just enough on the second night of a back-to-back to take down a fresh Toronto Raptors team with some young, spry legs that can get a lot of offensive rebounds. I think best in the game, or second best when it came to second chance points this season. They ended up with 12 offensive rebounds. They got up 95 shots to 76 for the Clippers. Wow, that is a big number. A 19-shot attempt differential, and the Clippers won anyways. How? Well, they were more efficient from 3, 10 of 26. Raptors, 11 of 37. And the Clippers, most importantly, while missing some late, went 25 of 32 at the charity stripe. They attempted 32 free throws. They hit 25. That's still 78%. That's not bad. And the Raptors went 12 of 21 at the free throw line. So it wasn't always pretty. Clippers with 4 turnovers in the fourth quarter. 14 for the game, still better than what they've been at so far. Over 17 heading into this one. The first 9 games, you'll take it. They escaped. They escaped late after, yes, it could have been a monumental meltdown And if those free throws came back to haunt them, those missed free throws and those turnovers late, there would be a different tone and tenor post game. And I still think, that stuff's frustrating. They need to be better. They were up 12 with 9-10 left after a Norman Powell layup. Close it out. Pull away. But what have I always said with this team? Their defense keeps them in every game. Their offense keeps the opposition in every game, unfortunately. So it would end up being a tie game late at 93 all at the 3:30 mark. And then again at 102 all with 39 seconds left after Emmanuel quickly had a three on the right wing. The Clippers, though, right out of that timeout, got it to Norman Powell. He had the rip-through move. The refs rewarded them. And he went to the charity stripe. Hit 102. 103, 102. That's frustrating. But their defense saved them. Terance Mann saved them. Got the block on Emmanuel quickly. Clippers get the board. James Harden now at the charity stripe. Goes 1 of 2. So instead of being up 106, 102 and up by 4, which is a big deal down the stretch, with under 30 seconds left, it's the Clippers up by 2 at 104 to 102. RJ Barrett misses a layup. Great defense again. Right at the cylinder. Terance Mann. Norman Powell gets it. Back to the charity stripe. Misses the first. Hits the second. It's 105, 102. And the Raptors still have an opportunity here. Now, what I love seeing was the Clippers, first they had a foul to give, and then they fouled Pirtle intentionally and put him at the line with 6 seconds left. Toronto didn't have a timeout. So Pirtle makes the first. It's 105, 103. It's a 2-point game. And I think probably wisely misses the second because they don't have any timeouts left. And there's only 6 seconds left in the ball game. He misses it. It goes right back to him on the intentional miss. It was beautifully executed. And it was like 21 Tippett. He grabbed it and tried to put it up right away. It rims in and out. And Ivica Zubac gets the board. Game over. Clippers survive. Survive and advance like March Madness tonight. As there was some. Mostly due to the Clippers not being good enough late in the game with the same trends of bad turnovers and missed free throws. But you'd rather work on these things and know what you have to work on after a win than after a loss. I know Coach Lue will be frustrated post-game. We will hear from him. But they're 6-4. And 6-4 through their first 10 games. I would have signed up for 5-5 looking at the schedule. I said that. You'll take 6-4. Could they have been better? Yeah. If it wasn't for these mistakes. If James Harden could find his groove offensively. Still 5 of 17. But he got to the charity stripe and missed a critical one, but still went 12 of 13. So 17 shots to get 24 points. You'll take that. 7 assists to, what was the turnover number? 4. Still 1 or 2 too many. But what could the Clippers be if James Harden was just himself right now offensively? Now, I think it's fatigue. Others have said, no, it's season legs, Adam, you casual. Well, we'll see. I do assume he's going to start shooting it better. How much better? I don't know. He's being asked to do a lot, and this was the second night of a back-to-back, and I could see it out there. Hear it into a dome as I flip my laptop around. He was laboring. He was extremely tired. This Clippers team, they're having to rely on guys like Kevin Porter Jr., who had his highest scoring game as a Clipper, 15 points, to bring the ball up, to alleviate some of this. He had 5 assists to 2 turnovers. Had some nice defensive plays, too. Kevin Porter Jr., I don't know. Starting to come around. He had a tough rebound early in the fourth quarter. The rebounding from him has been good. He ended up with 6. That stuff's important. Closing out possessions. Just those back-to-back threes he ended up hitting in this game could be big for his confidence from distance, as he had struggled. In fact, the only two he had hit heading into this game, I think he was 2 of 21 from 3 before tonight. One he banked in, one he did hit and was fouled. Norman Powell had a 4-point play, I believe in the first half of this ball game. But I liked a couple of the passes from KPJ early on. He had a kick out to Harden for a 3. He had a kick out to Dunn late first quarter for a 3. Then he had those back-to-back threes around the 7-minute mark of the second quarter. He responded after turning it over with a floater late in the second quarter, I think it was. Just showing a little bit of growth. Kevin Porter Jr., I got to say. I still need better decision-making overall, but this is a guy who missed a year of basketball. It could just come with time and more reps. But that would be a big development for this team, would it not? If they had a different, better version of Kevin Porter Jr. than what we have seen through the first 10 games. And to his credit, I feel like he's incrementally got a little bit better. Seemed like his timing has been a little bit better over, let's say, the last 6 games rather than the first 4 games. Certainly the first 3 games. There was some rough stuff in there. But shout out Coach Lue, pushing the right buttons over and over again. They went small the last 5.5 minutes of the third quarter, and they went +7 there. Then the group with Kevin Porter Jr., Chris Dunn, Amir Coffey, Nico Batum started the fourth quarter, got blitzed initially. Coach Lue didn't call timeout. There was a 5-0 run right away by the Raptors. He gave it a little bit more time, and it ended up being just a -1 for that group before the timeout came. I think it was called by Toronto, and then he got Norman Powell back into the game, where I think Batum with that group. That's been working too. I just sense of urgency timeouts have been stellar from Coach Lue, and nobody is giving him credit for this. I think the lineups have been pretty good too. Him sticking with KPJ, it looks like the right move right now. 10 games in, are there going to be changes? I don't know. People are still talking about getting Jordan Miller in there. KPJ might have bought himself more time with this performance tonight. So 6-4, 10 games in. Clippers in solid shape. We'll take a quick timeout. Sheriff OG says in the chat, 6-4, we are in good shape. We need Bamba and Kawhi soon. Well, I don't know if Kawhi's going to be soon. He's not going to be with them on the road trip, so he's at least out the next 3 games. Mo Bamba, though, we'll give you an update on that. We'll hear from Coach Lue post-game. Bonesaw's giving him credit for his in-game management. I think he's been really good, guys. Like, really good. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go out of my way like this the last 3 or 4 games talking about it. I can go back to the game against up 23 against Phoenix, or 21. It gets down to 17. He calls a timeout. Like, he has called timeouts early in third quarters right away when he doesn't like what he sees, 25 seconds into a quarter. Like, this is how it has to be right now. These are all teaching moments for this team, and they got a few more lessons that Coach Lue will be given to them after the lack of late game execution again, but they hold on. They win 105-103 over the Raptors. You're listening to Clippers Talk here on AM 570 LA Sports. Bro, I think I'm not hearing anything. I'm not hearing anything. Now it just popped back on. Now it's off. Hello? Is it that cord thing? Hello? Now it's on. Now it's off. We all right? No. Now. Nope. Good. Right on. Yeah. Bonesaw said no sound for the casuals. This guy Bonesaw is pretty funny. He said no sound for the casuals. You can't hear me. Track 1, side 2, all eyes on me. You can't see me. That's one of my favorite pop tracks. George Clinton. Jonathan Ing recognizes Ty has been great when KPJ made really poor decisions. Zach, do you have Charles Mockler's number? I'll get it to you here. I'm sending you a picture here. If you want to call him, I gave it to you way too late. But if you can, if you can, or you want to wait till we get in and then you got time. Okay, yeah, call him. When did I agree with Sam? I've never agreed with Sam about anything. I would never agree with Sam's sanatorium. Are you kidding me? It's a good day for a good day, says Max Vega. I like that. Bamba. Charles Mockler's coming on, but I don't know if you're going to be able to hear him, chat. That's okay. I'll relay what he's saying. I'll type it for you. Yeah, but it doesn't. That only works when I'm there on that side. But good call. Chris G says OKC back tomorrow against the Warriors. Yeah. I like that. Clippers rest advantage on Monday in OKC. Sam, chill. I've never agreed. Have we played the most back-to-backs so far? This is a good question by X Mongo Project. They've had 3 different back-to-backs. So 6 of their first 10 games have taken place within the front end or the back end of a back-to-back. Oh, Zach O'Caldy. I called for it. He delivered. Little all eyes on me. Clippers. All eyes on the Clips for those who are doubting this squad, or at least thought they were going to be one of the worst teams in the Western Conference, a bottom 4 team. They are 6-4 in their first 10 games. Wake up, national media. Where you at, Big Park? How'd you guys not know that this team had a defensive identity they were building this off season? Right after they lost Paul George, they made the move. They brought in Derrick Jones Jr. They brought back Nico Batum. They brought in Chris Dunn. And right now, Clippers, I would say, is successful 6-4 in their first 10 ball games. But I want to ask Big Chuck Mockler about this record right now as he joins the show. A little Clips and Double Dip here on Clippers Talk. Chuck, how we feeling after the Clippers start off their first 10 games, 2 games above 500? Zach O'Caldy is Is that a stenographer that's in the courtroom that writes out everything somebody says? He's doing that right now on the YouTube side at Clippers Talk with what Chuck is saying. Quote, Chuck Mockler says, I'm feeling great, Adam. 6-4 with 3 back-to-backs. All right, let's talk about Terance Mann late in this ball game here, Charles, because he made 2 stellar defensive plays. They don't win without him, and Coach Lue went back to him. I'm kind of happy in some ways. I'm not happy about them missing free throws. I'm not happy about the turnovers, but to have this happen in 2 straight games where they still win, I think it tells you about their margin of error, and it has grown because Norman Powell, because of what Powell's been able to do, averaging 25 points per game with the level of efficiency we're seeing right now. Nobody expected this. Like, if they were going to make these mistakes and you said, okay, this team coming into this one is averaging 17 turnovers per game, and you asked somebody what their record would be if you knew that information, they would say definitely under 500, but they're getting by anyways while not playing perfect basketball. Like, he started this game off. I joked pregame. I was like, let's see if Norm's still on the heater. Give him a heat check, and he had a 4-point play, and then another 3, and he had 7 points early on just by knocking him down from distance and then being fouled on one of those. But the ability to get to his right, and you can see the difference in teams loading up on him a little bit more and guys shading over. The word is getting out. It doesn't take long in the NBA with how many scouts, with how many coaches you have out there, and they're playing him differently. Tonight was different, and he's still 24 points, as you mentioned, on just 14 shots. Now, the 2 missed free throws were brutal late. And if Jakob Poeltl ends up getting that to go, which I think was one of the best executed missed free throws I've ever seen, it went right back to him. It was kind of like 21 Tippett, right, Chuck? Where you get it in the air and you try to put it back up. I mean, there was more time he could have gone down with it, but it was a great look. It just rimmed in and out. I, I would not question Darko or give him some bad calls. I would not do either of those things, who I do love. And that was one of my favorite rants in NBA history because it happened against the Lakers and it's stuff I wanted to say for so long. So James Harden is still in this shooting funk. And people have told us that, no, 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 guys, this is just early season, got to get his sea legs underneath him. it's not happening so far. Now, it's the second night of a back-to-back, and he looked noticeably gassed at times, but he still, because he got to the charity stripe so much, and he still was doing hard work getting downhill. I mean, 13 free throws attempted. So he still gets 24 points on 17 shots. Like, the overall true shooting efficiency, I guess, was good enough, even though he's having trouble just knocking down threes and getting some of the easy stuff to go. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, Norm still went 50% from three. He was at 49%. He was just touching, almost kissing 50% from three, you could say. Kissing the what's the phrase? Kissing the bottom of what is the so he's not going to lose any ground there. He was shooting 51% from the floor. He goes only 50% from the floor. Yeah, this is insane. The stuff Norman Powell is doing. What do you I guess, are you expecting anything now that we're 10 games in, Charles? Because Coach Lue always looks for that 10-game sample size. Could we see some moves coming now? I mean, KPJ probably just had his best game, at least scoring wise, for the Clippers. If anything, what are you expecting? Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I think that's a good point. And maybe they're just, Kai got minutes again in the first half, but none in the second half. And they were a +7 with those small ball minutes to end the third quarter. It worked. And apparently, according to Tomer Azarli, Mo Bamba has been participating in Stay Ready game day practice, 5-on-5s and everything. He hasn't been limited, says Coach Lue, but his status for the trip is still TBD. Kawhi is not going on the trip, but maybe they're getting Mo Bamba back sooner than later. And, that's the move. That's the change, just getting him back and his first minutes as a Clipper. Hmm. So we're looking at this team, I guess, I don't know, a little bit more back to the big picture here as we close things out, Chuck. But they're 6-4. They've made mistakes. They're still above 500. They've had 3 back-to-backs already, as you mentioned earlier. They're going into OKC on Monday, but OKC will actually be on a back-to-back, so that's nice to see. Like, this is a team that is dangerous. And you think about if they can get Kawhi Leonard back, and I know that's asking a lot right now, but all of a sudden, I've been mentioning this the last couple of days, but the power forward issue may have been an exaggeration. They've been a very good rebounding team. the Zach LaVine talk and bringing in another scorer when you have Zach LaVine at home. It's called Norman Powell, and that's no disrespect. He has been that good so far. Like, I wouldn't give him up for Zach LaVine right now. When you compare contracts and everything it would take, I would not do that move. I would not be close to making a drastic move like that. Look at Norman Powell and his efficiency. It's otherworldly. Sure. Uh-oh. Oh, the one that Harden's going to break through so he can start shooting well again? That wall? He is Chuck Mockler of Clips and Dip fame, joining me here on Clippers Talk for a little Clips and Double Dip after the Clippers win 105-103 over the Raptors here at Intuit Dome. Charles, great stuff as always. We'll talk to you soon, my friend. Coming up next, it's our final timeout. Yeah, this is it. I had to check my text messages. Zach O'Caldy was like in the chat transcribing everything Chuck was saying, which is hilarious and very much needed. You can hear the guests when the Clippers are on the road and I'm back in Burbank. You can't hear the guests when I'm at Intuit Dome. But no matter, we push through, just like the Clippers. Yeah, a couple turnovers late. Yeah, some missed free throws. Get the dub anyways. Clippers have won 4 straight. They're 6-4 in their first 10 games. We'll unpack some of the quotes coming out from Coach Lue next in our final segment here on Clippers Talk from Intuit Dome, live on your Los Angeles Clippers audio network and AM 570 LA Sports. I mean, guys, how can we talk about Zach LaVine anymore and the Clippers having to make this move? Norm made the move. He said, give me the green light and I'll take care of the rest. That's what's happened. Norm is a revelation, the level of scoring he's doing for the Clippers. I thought he was capable of maybe like 80% of this, but there's 20% that is amazing to me that he's doing right now. He's handling the ball more. He's finding guys. Last game, he had all the rebounds with 12 when they challenged him. I can't say enough about Norman Powell. And yeah, Coach Lue said, he said tonight's rotation is what he expects going forward. So get used to these guys and maybe Mo Bamba coming back and getting run. Hey, that's the move. I'm interested in Mo Bamba. He's still young enough and being coached up by this Clippers team. I want to see what he's got because I think his potential is still very interesting. He's a 36% career average 3-point shooter. That's NBA average at a big man. And he's had seasons where he has shot 40%. So I want to see Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba. I just want to see everyone get healthy. But yeah, everybody now that was saying we need Zach LaVine and his bloated contract is going the other way with it. Ross said no team has taken Zach LaVine on his contract and injury history alone. His contract will kill any team's CBA flexibility. Well, I wouldn't say no team. But I was pointing out the entire time, like that 2026 player option for $48 million, that's what it comes down to. I don't know if this represents Clipper Nation correctly, but on the chat, David Hong said, my heart and stomach really needed the beating tonight. Ugly win is still a win. Clippers win ugly, 105-103. Missed free throws, turnovers late, but a huge three by Norman Powell around the 2-minute mark of the fourth quarter. And they do enough. After being up by 12 in the fourth, after being up by 14 in the first half, to hold on and win over the Toronto Raptors by 2 here at Intuit Dome. Make it their 4th straight victory. And Norman Powell with 9 games so far, 9 straight games now of 20 or more points. He ties Jason Tatum for the most such games of 20 points or more in the NBA. Are you kidding me? Zach O'Caldy, is that still true? I know Carlos said it earlier. Make it true. That Norman Powell has tied Jason Tatum with the most games of 20 or more so far this season with 9. And Anthony Edwards. He's got 9? 9. Sorry, political season's over. RIP. Yes. It is incredible, guys. Norman Powell, I could not be happier for this man. I could not be happier for this man. We got Lee Vibin in the chat saying Norm over PG. I mean, when you consider contracts, yes. How can you not say that? I mean, Paul George is making over twice as much money than Norman Powell. For the production you're getting out of Norm, I said before the season started, the easiest way, the quickest path to replacing Paul George's production is through Norman Powell. If anyone could fill the void and fill it up, it was Norman Powell. And you see it. Understand the grind. Norm is just one of those guys that is a consummate professional that has been waiting his turn and is now just kicking ass and taking names. We're past safe harbor hours. Some people understood the 999 deep cut. Like, how is Philly feeling right now? I don't want to focus too much on Paul George and other teams, but we just saw him here. And Norm, well, people were saying this offseason, like, I don't know, he's got 2 years left around $20 million. Not a great contract. How about now? He's a bargain. And this ain't some dumpster dive. This is a guy, or bargain bin. This is a guy who has had this potential. He has averaged about 20 points per game in Portland. Give him the green light. And he's taken off the line like it's just a, I don't want to, drag. He's a dragster, yeah. Fast and the Furious. Final scene in the original. I don't know who's racing him, but I do love that original movie. Norman Powell's just incredible. 0 to 60 is how he's living his life right now. It's just, is that gone 60 seconds? Okay, I'm misquoting a lot of stuff, and that's a terrible analogy. I just want to tell you, they gave him the keys to the car and pedal to the metal from Norman Powell. Okay, I'll stop. This is just insane. Yeah, it's not just 20-plus points every game. On extreme efficiency. That's what Norman Powell's doing. I did not expect over a 10-game stretch when he's one of the number one options, when teams are scheming against Norman Powell each and every night now, for him to just keep this up forever. I don't expect that. But I feel like, I don't know, a 50, 40, I don't know if we'll get the free throw shooting in, 90 season, 85 season, isn't that crazy? Like, Norm shot 44% from 3 last season. He can shoot over 50% from the floor. He can shoot over 40% from 3. He is a flamethrower, says Bonesaw. Everyone's saying PG is old news. That's why they had the newspapers, and they were shaking them at Paul George at the wall. This is about the 2024-2025 Clippers. I just can't stop thinking about how well Kawhi Leonard could fit into a team like this that's so defensive oriented, that has so many guys that can play defense. So he can guard, I don't know, the third best offensive player on the opposition every night. Farbod said, quote, the Clippers lead the league in most unnecessary, stressful home games, unquote. That comes from Farbod Essenshari. I guarantee you there's some other fans out there that are thinking the exact same thing of their team, but it's just fan bias. It's, hey, you'll take it. You could say it's unnecessary, but this is what happens when your offense can go into deep, deep funks and lulls because they're a defensive team. But Mr. Addition by subtraction might change the narrative. I don't know. You get Kawhi back and you got a new big three with Kawhi, James Harden, and Norman Powell, who stands on business. The guy said it. He called his shot. And I know he's got a bad game coming. It's going to happen. He's not going to shoot 50, 50, 90 all year. But, I mean, he's built up this equity and this goodwill with the fan base. It's not going to matter. They're not just going to turn on him. It's just going to be, oh, Norman had a bad game tonight. He'll pick it up. He's establishing this standard where you feel like he's making it every time he takes a shot. Outside of those two free throws. Outside of those two free throws, at least. Big four with Big Zoo. Hey, Zoo was good tonight, guys. Steady. Again. 7 of 12. At one point, he was 7 of 9, so he did miss his last 3 takes. But he had 14 and 12, another double-double. He had a double-double at the half with 10 and 10. 3 blocks. Ooh, he had some nice blocks. I think he got R.J. Barrett on a rear view contest. That was nasty from Big Zoo. A left-handed hook to start. Spinning to the hoop for a layup. Second quarter, he ripped it from Pirtle, who was coming downhill in a hurry. Went out of bounds on the Clippers, but still, it was great post defense. Then he had a putback with the right hand off an Amir miss. A lob from Harden at the 4-minute mark of the second. And then swatted one away, a transition bucket. I forget who had it, but then he blocked R.J. Barrett. Had a bucket to start the third quarter. A hook shot in the lane. Big Zoo was just expected. Another good ball game. Anybody have his averages, including this game, through 10 now? You talking about Big Zoo baking double Swiss with how young he still is at the age of 27? Dunn is going to be on Shea a lot. Terance Mann will be on him. Derrick Jones Jr. Look, they could have won that first game easily against OKC. They were up by 13. They let it go to some extent. So it's crazy to say, but I don't hate the Clippers' chances in OKC with them coming off a back-to-back, the Thunder, on Monday. I'm here for that. And yeah, Nico Batum had a couple Batumbos, R.I.P. Dikembe Mutombo. He had a couple of nice blocks too. Clippers win. They hold on. 105-103 your final over the Toronto Raptors here at Intuit Dome. Before we get out of here, I do want to thank the Clippers organization. Ralph Lawler, Brian Seaman, Noah Eagle, Carlo Jimenez on the call in this one. Flawless as always. Our head engineer, Big Brother Jake Warner, here at Intuit Dome. We love him. Zach O'Caldy producing took us off, as BTV would say, back in the bank. Statistician Joey, the listeners, the people in the chat, appreciate you guys. Until Monday, at least on the radio side, with your pregame show at 4 from OKC, I'm Adam Oslin. We will talk to you then.
Yes, sir. We'll talk soon, man.
Well done, Zach.
All right, bro. Later.